Financial disclaimer. The information provided in this stream is for educational and informational purposes only and should not be considered as professional financial or investment advice. We are not licensed financial advisors, and the content presented here is based on our personal opinions and experiences. Investing in stocks and other financial instruments involves risk, including the potential loss of capital. Any investment decisions you make are solely your own responsibility, and you should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment choices. The content we share on this stream may not be accurate, complete, or up to date. Market conditions and financial regulations can change rapidly, and we cannot guarantee the accuracy or reliability of the information presented. We do not endorse or promote any specific stocks, companies, or investment strategies. Any actions you take based on the content of this stream are at your own risk, and we will not be held liable for any losses or damages that may occur as a result. Always remember that past performance is not indicative of future results, and no investment is guaranteed to be profitable. Make informed decisions and consider your risk tolerance before investing any funds. By accessing and using this stream, you acknowledge and agree that we are not responsible for any investment decisions you make as a result of the content presented. You are encouraged to seek advice from qualified financial professionals for personalized guidance. Please invest responsibly, and only with money you can afford to lose.
Hey man, just found the next guaranteed multi-bagger.
Hey man, you found another one? What is it this time?
Come check this out.
Okay, next please. How can I help you, young man?
We want to go all in on PTON. We think New Year's resolution will have a strong comeback for the summer, and I have a bike.
Well, that's fantastic. A really smart decision, young man. We can put that checked and it's gone.
Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. This is the Laughing Stock. How are you, Dale?
How are you?
Yeah, doing well. Been a busy week, especially yesterday. Some stuff happened in ticker that we have been talking a little bit about. We will go through that today. But first off, what do you think about PTON?
Well, I think I agree there. I don't know. I always had a hard time with the idea of Piton being like this long-term thing. Like you're paying like such a premium for exercise equipment, and then on top of that, to pay for classes and to turn it into a subscription-based service. I could see it working for some people, but I just thought the market there was kind of small.
Yeah, and you always see a little bit of a drop in the after New Year's, right?
Right. Well, and I get everyone's, pro exercise and all that. But the other thing too is like, there's so many like free videos and stuff on YouTube. Like if you really wanted to follow along to like a bike or a running class, like you could just go on YouTube. So like the subscription service to me just is kind of a long shot to think people are going to subscribe to that when you get the same content for free.
Yeah.
So.
And we, I saw a few things where, it was a bit tough this week. I think on Thursday on my stream, I didn't find too much. There was some days that were very bullish, and then other days has been pretty quiet, I think. I saw a lot of oil companies was down yesterday, tracking just the oil price, I guess.
Yeah, I heard talks at possible between the ceasefire from Israel and Gaza, and then that making the Suez Canal kind of opening back up should lower the demand issue for oil. Supply should go up. So, is bearish to oil prices, basically.
Yeah. And I saw some home builders earlier this week that they showed up in the Daily Movers in a positive way. And I think it was on the news that they were planning to like halt or cut the interest rate on the mortgages in USA. Is that correct?
From what I understand, yeah, it looks like interest rates pretty much are not going to go higher at this point. When the actual first rate cuts will be, That's kind of what the Fed was like hinting at. But what they basically said, and I would take this as relatively good news, and the job market here is once again like killing it. It's kind of crazy. We may actually nail a soft landing here. I shouldn't even say it because it's going to crash as soon as I say that. It's going to be a recession on Monday. It's kind of, but what do you call it? They basically were like, inflation is going in the right direction, but like we just want to continue to see it going in the right direction. If we do continue to see inflation going down, then they will start to cut rates. Like that's kind of how they said it. Like right now things do look good, but it's just hasn't been long enough for them to be like 100% assured that inflation is continuing. So they just want to see probably another month or two's data before they start to make the choice. Like I think it's very doubtful you'll see a rate cut in March. That's the next time that they convene here. So it'll probably, I think the one after that would be May. I think that's right.
Yeah. Yeah. So carefully, I think I read the article and he said like they like what they see so far. They just need more data and they need more good data. But everything looks good so far. But he said like before we can continue to cut, we just need to get more data that is also good. So I guess they are just waiting and being very careful.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, they do everything in hindsight, so I don't blame them for not rashly moving in one direction or the other. I sometimes they probably move too slow. You could definitely argue that in the past that they moved too slow. Like for instance, in COVID, having it stay at 0% interest rates for as long as they did, I think was a little insane. You saw what the market did. All the equity stuff like flew to the top because it just at zero interest rate, like. Equity, there's no risk. Like anyone can take debt on because the interest rates are so low. So equities like risk, like, the premium is like super high on equity.
Yeah.
But,
and by the way, I forgot a bit here in the intro, but thank you if you are watching. We really appreciate it. We have had a little bit of a bump up in the views lately. So, we appreciate everyone who tunes in, and as always, feel free to use the chat and give us some tickers that we can research. We have like 4 new ones today, not new ones, but that we haven't gone through in too much depth in the past, I think, and then we're gonna talk a little bit about BNED.
Yeah, I definitely want to bring up BNED because there was a lot that happened yesterday, really specifically. But
yeah.
And, just take my take on what's going on. The next time they're going to meet, it looks like, according to the paperwork, would be February 5th through 8th will be the next session. So obviously we'll get hopefully a little bit more clear understanding of what the legislation actually is saying. Because of the way it's worded right now, there's so much that's crossed out and it's referring to different sections, and it kind of almost contradicts itself in a way, at least in my opinion. So, I'll go over what I think, but either way.
Yeah. We have talked a bit off camera about this, and I saw comments on the the latest Courage article on Seeking Alpha. Also, the people look a bit confused, and it's like a lot of guesswork right now. What like how is this wording? What does this mean? But yeah, we can talk about it. We can just go straight into BNED now. You want to do that?
Yeah, if you want, we can pull up BNED because it's kind of the stock right now for me, at least.
Yeah.
And if you guys, I don't know if you noticed it, because honestly, it had such a big rise on Friday, and then it pulled right back. So, which to me was probably mostly momentum traders. But before that, around noon, I think his name's BLCM. He's the one who posted the the session, like the report. And this contained the new language, which, we had talked about it initially, and it kind of looked like it was going to be an opt-in or an I think the first thing we thought was going to be opt-out, but the more I look at it, it may be opt-in. But it's the way that it's opt-in that's kind of confusing. So it's not necessarily as bearish as opt-in initially sounded, but don't get me wrong, it could still fundamentally hurt BNED. So there is obviously a lot of risk to take on here. And you could see that the market reacted to the news because all of a sudden, I think the volume was, what was it, like 8 million shares or something?
Yeah, I can pull it up here a bit later. I'm just showing the comment section now in the Seeking Alpha article, but
Yeah, I'll pull it up too so I can kind of read with how I've been looking at. Oh, there's another comment since I looked last. I don't know who put things.
And there's like the bottom line right now is there's a bit confusion, at least amongst investors here, and I think that was reflected on the price yesterday. If you look at the chart, it went up like 50% at the max, and then it ended up like almost 8%, which is still good, but that was a crazy ride in just one day, and you can see the candle here.
Oh, I just see BLCM responded to me and he gave me the actual transcript. So I'm definitely going to dissect this today because I've been like looking up every second, like articles and stuff, trying to figure out what's going on here.
Yeah.
You know, like I had said, guys, you know, I didn't trade out of the position or anything like that because my thesis isn't that, you know, it's not just to make a quick buck off this. So even when it went up, because I think it went up 50% from the lows that day. I mean, it's not 50% from where I own it. But either way, I mean, I was up a good profit, but you know, it's not me to take the profit. Then I'm still trying to be, you know, I'm assuming what it would be worth if the first day completes, you know, continues to work and first day in general. If those continue to make cash, and you know, regardless of how this opt-in opt-out structure works, and like I said, that we'll have to go through the wording. You guys can make your own kind of judgment on how you think it lands, but what do you call it? I would say that, you know, I'm expecting this to go back to similar to what the previous analysts were. Courage had brought that up in the article saying that, you know, right before this big drop and the terrible news that came out that, you know, analysts were saying, I think $3 and $4.50 for the stock. So, you know, I still think this could be easily a double or maybe even a triple from here.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, he sent me the whole thing here. That last comment on seeking alpha. So at some point I'll read through it's 133 pages, so I won't do it on here.
Yeah, so I pulled it up. Then, but just for people, if they want to look at it, they can check out the link. But what I found a bit interesting, and not that that's very new, because we saw it the other way when this news first came out. It plummeted like 50%. But it was a bit good yesterday to see what some positive news can do to this. You know, there's some bounce potential here.
Oh, well, I think as soon as if it becomes positive news for BNED, yes, you can see that this will quickly spike back. So that kind of volume, even in a small company like this that's not really followed by a lot of analysts, if this does turn in BNED's favor, you can see what the stock price will do. The stock price will go through the roof. I mean, there's like I saw a bunch of people posting on X yesterday, and they're like, "How is there no short interest on this? Why would something pop like this?" So it's obvious that they're just traders and they don't know the story. But if there's good news for this will go right back up. Yeah.
Yeah, the volume was 8 million and the average is 1 million yesterday.
Right. So I think it touched, what did it touch? Like $1.30?
125, I think.
So
that was very interesting, and like it's up 8%, but down a little bit in the after hours. But it's the weekend now, so let's see on Monday what happens. But here is the new wording. I pulled it up from the what do you call it, the Department of Education.
Yeah, it's basically like their session and what they've changed the writing on this law currently, but there's still, I think, going to be 3 more sessions, because I think the one on Friday will be the second session. Either that or be the third, or on Monday, I'm sorry. The one on Monday, I believe, will be the second or third session. So
I think that would be the third, and then there's another one in March. Is that right?
I think so. I saw someone post about March.
Yeah.
But
I think you and I talked in like we also initially thought that this was a bit towards keeping the opt-out option alive, but then we have read through it. We saw some other comments on Seeking Alpha, and there's a authorization that they have to go through, to be able to automatically opt them in. Is that correct so far?
Yeah, so if you guys look through in that section that you got pulled up there, that no, keep going down. You're what page are you on of that? No, I think you got to go up.
I can.
You're too far down in the article.
Is this the right one?
Yes, this is. Well, we'll scroll down. It's just the next page because then it says the amount incurred by the student. Here, I'm gonna pull it up on mine just because the stream's slightly off from where I'm looking here.
Yeah.
But that way I can just make sure I'm reading it live. Yeah, so I'm on page
3.
What does it say? The page 3, and
Yeah.
it says the amount incurred by the student for the payment period for purchasing books, supplies, and other educationally related goods and services provided by the institution for which the institution obtains the student or parent's authorization under 668.165B. And this is kind of what's confusing for me. And it says that they can do this provided that for each payment period, the institution individually discloses the cost of such books, supplies, and other educationally related goods and services to the student prior to any authorization being signed, and the student or parent chooses to purchase these materials provided by the institution. And B, the institution makes those books or supplies available to students at or below competitive market rates. So the thing that's interesting to me is if you need to get their authorization to get it, the way that they would be able to supply this at a cheaper price is by having a guaranteed amount of people coming in and actually purchasing through them. So what they're going to essentially do, at the way I read this, which is why I think something needs to change, or either that or missing something. This doesn't make sense to me, because the way BNED can provide these materials cheaper to everybody is by buying them in bulk beforehand and making sure that they're in the school and available right away on day one. Or within so many days of the semester starting. And you're basically saying that they have to provide them at a cheaper cost, but they don't have to necessarily, like, people aren't opted into the thing, which would give them a better idea of like how much to purchase, because that was the big thing in the last transcript for their earnings, as they were saying that, like, cash flows and all that, and the earnings and the revenue from all this and sales, it's much more predictable now with the FDC model. If you scroll down to, and then it said, or parents authorization under 668.165B. And then if you scroll down to, I think it's, what is this, page 8? It said provisions for books and supplies. An institution must provide a way for a student who is eligible for Title IV and the funds to purchase by the 7th day of a payment period the books and supplies applicable to the payment period if 10 days before the beginning of the payment period.
Yeah.
And the institution can disperse these funds for which the student is eligible, and presuming the funds were dispersed, the student would have the credit balance under paragraph 2. The amount the institution provides to the student to obtain or purchase books and supplies is lesser than the presumed credit. So they would have to provide these underneath that credit that's available to them. But then if you go down below that, at the very bottom of that, this is the part B there, and it says student or parent authorizations. And this is what makes me start to think it may be more of a, like, you have to sign off on it, which makes me kind of say it's opt-in, because it says if any institution obtains written authorization from a student or parent as applicable, the institution may use the student's funds, basically. And it refers to the previous part I just read. And then it says, unless the secretary provides funds to the institution under the reimbursement payment method or heightened cash monitoring, which doesn't really matter.
How does that work? I'm not familiar, because our universities work a little bit different here. But how does that work normally to ask for authorization? Is that can you like kind of sneak it in like a lot of things?
No,
do,
and
like
it specifically says you can't do that. So here, on the next part I'm reading here, it says, now part 2, in obtaining the student or parent's authorization to perform an activity described in paragraph B1 of this section, an institution must clearly describe what the authorization allows the institution to do and how it will be implemented, must provide these authorizations conspicuously and separate from other documents a student or parent is required to sign. So it has to be like a separate sheet. So like when you
it's
go
going
up
to
to
be a
sign up
clear
for your
one.
semester, they have to hand you a sheet and say, this is just so you know, it's the first day complete program. You'll have to sign into this or authorize this to be wrapped into your payment. And then this is where I imagine you'd be able to say, and it may not require or coerce the student or parent to provide that authorization, and must allow the student or parent to cancel or modify that authorization at any time. So those parts make sense. But, for instance, it says you can't coerce them, but coercion is to me more of like a negative term. But you could provide like a sheet that says the benefits of the first day complete program are this. So if you don't sign into this, you'll have to do all this on your own to get your own books and that kind of thing. Because by no means does that mean you can't go do that then. But this does make me think, based on how I'm reading this part, that this would be more of an opt-in thing. But then if it is an opt-in, do you have to do this? It says must allow the student or parent to cancel or modify that authorization at any time. Does that mean that for every semester you have to re-sign for this? Or is it that once you sign up, you would be kind of locked into it, and then later on, if you wanted to back out, you can then cancel it?
Yeah. And it also said in some wording, like for each payment period, will that be then every semester?
That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, I'm not really sure. And like I said, the thing that's strange is the whole reason this law was changed back in 2016 was because by not having like these companies basically be able to pre-purchase and order these bulk and make this more efficient in terms of getting whatever supplies you need to the school, it caused everything to be more expensive. So I'm kind of confused on how they can think that this made it cheaper in general, but now we don't want to have them continue to opt in, which will kind of ruin the efficiency of the program, making it more expensive. And then they'll, other people would have to charge. I mean, I guess it has to be at competitive rates. So I don't know. Like I said, hopefully this week we'll get we'll get more understanding of what actually is going on here.
Yeah.
And
no, it's a bit confusing at this stage, and obviously it's hard to interpret what they say here. But I agree that I'm leaning a bit towards that it's like a opt-in now, or it's going in that direction. But we just have to wait and see here for the updates, and luckily the next one is pretty soon then.
Yeah, and they clearly crossed off the section saying that, has a policy under which the student may opt out of the way the institution provides for the student to obtain books and supplies under paragraph C2. So if they're totally getting rid of the opt-out idea, that would make me think it would have to be an opt-in type situation, but I don't know. It's still very confusing the way that's written. And I think it kind of on one of the comments on Seeking had said maybe they left it kind of vague at this point because they're still not sure which the correct way of going forward.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. So I don't think there's much you can plan for at this point. I think in terms of as an investment, it I guess not much has changed. I guess we're a step closer to seeing kind of what their verbiage will be going forward. But then how does this materially affect, BNED is the question here. This QQQ guy had said, can BNED still manage to have a system in place which will guarantee that the universities will basically request the same amount of books even in the opt-in regime? In other words, would these opt-in or student authorizations take place early enough so that BNED can seamlessly deliver the full volumes of its product, no differently from the opt-out regime? So what he's saying here is, if BNED can plan on what the numbers will be if they opt in early enough, because otherwise, if they have to do this last second and scramble to know how many people are actually going to opt into the situation, it's going to materially hurt the business, I would think, because if you don't have any kind of planning going forward, I mean, you're just trying to, all you're going to do is make it more expensive for the students, in my opinion. The way the Department of Education is starting to look at this is, yes, I get it. They can go on other things and buy them from other places, but you'll lose the convenience of this. And if they're trying to get like, they're the other big part of this too is they're trying to make it so everybody has an equal access opportunity to get these books, and you're going to make it more difficult. People are, just because you go on Amazon and buy something doesn't mean it's going to be there. I know it's supposed to be there, but during times like this where it's busy and everyone's shipping stuff to colleges, who knows how long and quick it will take things. I remember starting classes and my books hadn't arrived yet, and it was kind of a pain. Maybe Amazon's better nowadays than when I went, because that was a long time ago now. But well, I mean, we'll just have to see. I think that's obviously still interesting, and obviously the news, like we said, can really cause the price to move around. So that's the thing. That's why I kind of want to stay in at this point. Because like I said, if we are wrong and it ends up materially hurting the business, we're not going to know that for a while. I don't think you're going to be able to predict that for a while. And if we are right, you want to be in now, because the chance to get in, obviously, if it can jump 50% in one day on so-so news, if it's positive news, then you're not going to have a chance to get back in at lows. It's gonna price accurately very quickly.
Yeah. And I think, we use a stop loss. We have talked about this in the previous streams. We try to protect the downside risk a bit. So it was before yesterday, it was trading close to my stop loss being triggered. So we are right there at the point where it's a bit uncomfortable, but I'm looking forward to the updated wording here and how people will interpret it, and maybe it's a bit more clear in the next one, hopefully. Because
like I said, we'll see.
Yeah, we just have to see. I think at this point, jumping 50% also doesn't make sense. It would make sense if this was a bit more clear, that it was okay, they're gonna go for this opt-out solution, but it's not really, is it? So 50% was a lot.
And the other thing that's still honestly like the big risk to this company too is the restructuring thing. So we'll have to see, because if they continue to get FTC in more schools, but they have a little bit lower of an instance rate, like maybe, I don't know, it just depends on how this authorization type thing works. Because if it's higher, because like, I don't know, you're presenting it to the person, I feel like a little bit differently than necessarily like what I was thinking opt-in by making them authorize it. Because like everything's still in place. And I don't know, I mean, maybe I was just lazy, but I can tell you in college, I know if I would have been like, hey, all your books and everything will be automatically included, and just so you know, it has to be at a competitive price. Like, we will not allow them to charge you more than you would get from anybody else. If anything, it should be cheaper, and it will all be delivered to you on day one. I still think there's a price for that convenience. I still think, the small amount that takes me to tediously go through and find these books and all, like I was a pre-med student. So for my degree, all the lab materials and stuff, it's not like I just needed 2 books. It was like a pain. And I know that's not everybody, but I still think this would apply. And I still think this would be interesting to a big group of students. So, there's a lot of moving parts, and I'm just interested to see where it goes from here. This is one of the ones I've gotten to really dive into deep. There's only been a few of these stocks, so far in my investing career that I've, really gotten a chance to like learn the company like this. So it's kind of exciting, and we're lucky that Seeking Alpha even exists, because how often do we get this kind of like dialogue?
Yeah. And it will also be interesting to see if Courage will update his view on this a little bit, maybe this coming week, because he hasn't commented too much yesterday, right?
Yeah, well, I think he's probably in the same thing, just kind of digesting the information and trying to plan out well. I mean, he's going to talk to his guys first, to the people that subscribe to him. So I'm sure he probably already is like deep into all this, but we won't know until he's let all his guys know what they want to do. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And it's also interesting to see, because I don't know these people in the comments, but they are not talking bullshit. It makes sense, all these comments, right? So, but it's 2 different camps right now. Some interpret it like we did in the beginning, and then others have some good point that it looks more like a opt-in thing. So it's a bit interesting that you get 2 so conflicting sides already, you know, just on the wording. But that just means it's a bit confusing for everyone.
Yeah. And you know, at first, like I said, I read it as I read it as it's still an opt-out program.
Yeah.
But now the one line, and I agree because everyone's kind of pointed it out, is the authorization thing that you know, the institution will have to obtain the student or parent's authorization under the Part B there, which we had just read through. So
But what did you say? How would that work? Is it a piece of paper or is it an online form?
Oh, I'm sure it could be either way, but it just has to, they just say it specifically has to be something different. So like, for instance, you can't have a sheet of paper that says like, oh, sign here to say like you agree with your tuition. And that's already just like secretly hidden on that sheet.
Yeah.
They're saying you can't do that. You have to very apparently make it clear that like, so after you just so you know, like, here's your tuition. Here's also something that we want you to sign if you're interested. This is basically a program that allows you to get all your books where you just wrap it into your tuition. It has to be done at competitive rates. And it also says they have to list the price of those books. So I don't know. It makes it a little bit more complicated because, for instance, like, I guess it would have to be some form of digital, because if you think about it, how would you, like, if I'm taking like 5 classes and I only know what those classes are kind of like right before the semester, because that's how you sign up for them. How is BNED going to appropriately be able to say like, here, these are the ones that you're going to get in those classes on a sheet of paper? Like, it would have to be all automated.
Yeah. And that's what I was thinking. Maybe they can have like, I don't know. Again, I don't know how this works in the States, but maybe they can have like a page you have to go through after you sign up or something, and then you have to click yes or no, you know, if you want to go in or not. And I think a lot would.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big question. And I had looked at a lot of articles, which is why I was bullish on the opt-out idea anyways, because my thought was basically that if you like just in general, the students, like, there was just a bunch of like news articles and stuff, and there's all videos, and other kids were saying kind of the same thing, that they're like, as soon as I tried the program, like, I'll stick with it. Like, I don't care if it even costs me a little bit more. Like, I'd rather have the convenience. You know, and there's something to say for that, because, for instance, it's like arguing that like the average American is super conservative. The average American's not super conservative. Like, if the average American can pay like a smidge extra for the convenience, that's what they're going to do. That's like the average American mentality, is that they're going to pay for that difference. So I don't know, but we'll have to see.
Yeah. And those studies, they were very good, right? But I don't know how they like went about to make those studies, but there was a high percentage, like you said, that really loved it and would recommend it to other students. I guess a lot of it will be word of mouth also. Like, if you live at the campus and you hear someone that they saved both time and money on this, they will tell other people, I assume.
Yeah. So, and the other thing that's still strange is they still also kept in the wording about that, you know, they could only charge for books guaranteed if it was like for the safety. And he had commented saying, so maybe that's just like a separate clause that, like, obviously if it's for safety reasons and they like require you to get certain materials, that they're going to force you to do that just because it's for your safety, that you don't go out and buy like some crappy, like, he's saying there's like scuba diving gear, and obviously like you can't go buy like crappy scuba diving gear because you could drown, you know what I mean? Like they're going to say like, no, you have to use this product. It's like what our standard is. So that makes sense, but obviously that applies to like a very specific niche. So I think they are probably going to keep that in separately, but yeah, it's just trying to read what this means about the authorization, I guess. Yeah.
And thanks to BLCM, he's the one with the updates here. We really appreciate it. This is good information.
I don't know how he always, like, he gets like the articles like so well. Have you ever used the Department of Education website? It's confusing as hell.
Yeah,
I don't know. How he finds this stuff.
And I saw Courage thanks him a lot too. So he has done it a few times now, and he seems to be on the ball. So yeah, go and check it out if you haven't read this stuff. There's a lot of good information here now. I think almost 100 comments on the article.
Yeah, no, it's Well, we'll see. We'll see on Monday, and it's. I think it says Friday, or I keep saying Friday. It says Monday, 5th through the 8th will be session 2. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Does it say when this first session was?
I think I read beginning of January.
So we probably won't have the next amended version of this until probably before the March one. Because then they'll
Yeah,
probably comment
probably.
during the
Yeah.
March meeting. So it'll be a little bit. We won't probably know exactly what happens during this session. Although I wonder if the transcript will be available from the hearing.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
How would you if people are getting interested to follow BNED now, how would you stay on top of like this type of news? Would you just go to Seeking Alpha here, like and check out BLCM if he posts, or would you actively go and check it? Or
I would do both. I mean, the nice thing about Seeking Alpha is, there's a bunch of us who are already interested. So I think if you look at the chart from yesterday, I think around 12 o'clock is when BLCM posted the first thing. And from that point on, the volume started like spiking and kind of going crazy. So, I mean, I don't necessarily believe in the efficient market, but that news, as soon as it got heard, like everyone started taking notice of the stock. So, I mean, and then, it just depends. I mean, we'll see. Obviously, opt-in would be great. If it's opt-in, or opt-out, then it's going to be a guaranteed home run. If it's opt-in, it raises a lot more questions, and you got to be a lot more nitpicky on how it's going to, affect BNED. And then on top of that, what do the banks think of it? Because the banks are the ones that are going to have to restructure their loan,
Yeah. But yeah, we are both in it. It's very interesting. It was very cool yesterday to see the kind of movement, but we have also experienced it the other way, right? So that wasn't so cool. But definitely still interesting.
I didn't buy it too early. I still don't.
Oh
think
no, we didn't buy. We just tracked it. That gave us the opportunity. That drop.
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't get smoked on that first 50%. That didn't.
No.
I thought it would. I thought the news would be a little bit more bullish coming out of it, and as of right now, it's really up in the air. So it's hard to say. I still think BNED will survive this, which is my thesis going forward here, and kind of why I've been in this. I think enough students will continue to use First Day Complete, and as it spreads to more colleges, like I said, I put a comment on there saying that if you think about it, if the opt-in rate is 80% and when it's opt-out, it's 80% of students, and it's opt-in, it's about 30% of students. With the way this authorization thing is, we'll have to see what that actually ends up doing to how many people are actually continuing to use the program. But if you double or triple the amount of schools that you have the FDC program in, even if, let's say, it gets cut in half from 80 to 40% of students, but you double or triple the amount of schools you're in, you still are going up higher than the current revenues are. Now, this is why I also said it's important to know how this materially affects their revenues, because like I said, part of the efficiency of the program right now and why they're able to lower CapEx and all that stuff is because they're able to better predict the cash flows and the actual revenues from the books. And that's just because currently they know they know how many people didn't opt out. So they know exactly how many people are going to need books. Going forward, depends on the time frame of when you have to opt in by, and then how quickly they can get those books. I would imagine they have to understand the fact that if you're going to say, I want to be opt in, then you have to at least give enough of a grace period that the school could, make sure that BNED gets all the supplies to them in time for the semester to start. Otherwise, the legislation would be more of a pain than it is to necessarily benefit the students, which once again would make me think. Now, I know other people brought this up and don't expect the Department of Education to necessarily pick the smartest move out there, but we'll have to see. I mean, these are all the variables that you should be thinking of.
Yeah. But I also thought that initially when because he writes in the I don't remember if Courage write in the actual article or in the comments that he expect them to do like this the smart thing, and then I was also thinking that they don't actually do that all the time, you know. That's a lot of people struggle a bit with politicians these days because of stupid things, so that is a point.
Yeah, I mean, it's something you have to take very seriously. And you know, as we've said too, guys, obviously it's a risky stock, but you know that's the kind of stock that we get into.
Yeah.
You know, it's money that you have to be able to afford to lose, and this is why, like Johnny was just saying, our stop losses are in there. This one, I definitely made my stop loss a little bit higher than I normally would, and that's just because I think the upside to this one is pretty high. You don't see it very
did the
often
same.
like that. But you know, if I'm wrong, it's not the end of the world. You know,
No.
we'll start moving on, and we'll go back to the drawing board and find the next interesting idea, or ideas. Hopefully, there's more than one at one time. But lately, it's been like you said, it's kind of been a slow trickle of stuff coming through that's really caught my eye.
Yeah. And I was I've done the same, by the way. My stop loss is a big like a bit more below than what it usually is. But I think if I get stop lost out, I'm gonna wait here because I think to reach that price point, something needs to happen, because I can't imagine it dropping that low on nothing when there's a lot of near-term potential triggers here, you know.
Right.
So if it gets triggered for me, I think I have to reassess there and then. But I think I have right now. My thinking is that I'm gonna wait a little bit then, because, yeah, that's a bit worrying for me if it reaches that point.
Yep. So we'll see.
Yeah.
You know, but I still think it's a very interesting story. I like the
same.
stock still. I think the business idea is great.
Yeah.
I really think it benefits the students, but we'll have to see going forward if that's what they agree on.
Yeah.
And the other thing too is even going forward, if these things are put in place, I imagine there would be an appeal from outside entities in terms of this, which may make them have to go back in and possibly, you know, relook over things. So
Yeah.
even after just these initial few sessions, I don't think that means anything's necessarily in place just yet. The final
No.
wording isn't due until November. So
Yeah, exactly.
there's a few months.
Yeah. And along with that, you need to pay attention to the depth story and how they're going to do that. And we're going to see before November, and we're going to know. But no, it's definitely still interesting in my opinion as well. And we, of course, we would like it higher up yesterday, but 8% is still not bad. But we don't really watch like day to day stuff. But it's nice to see some movement.
Right.
But you talked about a little bit about there being a slow week and everything. I have noticed that I'm missing a little bit of inside buys again. I don't see much. Have you noticed the same?
Yeah, yeah, the same actually. So you know, that's one of the things that definitely helps me to look into things. There has been a few companies I've looked at, but nothing's caught my eye where I think it's necessarily worth digging into too much.
Yeah. All right, you want to move into some tickers?
Yeah. Whatever ones you want to go through, just let me know and I'll start pulling them up alongside you.
Have you pulled up SD Sandridge?
No, but I got it right now. It's coming up.
Yeah. I have these in my tracker sheet already, and I think if I remember correctly, they were down like almost 10% yesterday.
Is this the company that gets like the blasting sand?
Yeah, I think so. They are currently like at a 52-week low.
Actually, I don't think this is the exact same company I'm thinking of.
Sandridge Energy?
I think we're seeing these lows right now because of oil.
Yeah. There was many oil companies in the daily movers.
Yeah, the tough part about this one is when you look, I mean, like in 2020, which I know is COVID. Well, yeah, I guess I shouldn't worry so much about 2020 because that was a pretty down year, but like 2019 is like kind of a lower year for them. It's definitely a very cyclical company.
Yeah. And the revenue isn't great, but it shows up as safe in my sheet, and
Yeah, well, they don't have
cash.
they don't have any debt.
No. And they trade below book barely, like briefly, and I mean they have cash generation, so it's okay here. But I'm not sure. Do you think they are in a good position?
I mean, with that cash sitting on the balance sheet's clean. So, I mean, that
Yeah.
part, they're paying a dividend. They're on January 31st announced a one-time dividend of $1.50 a share and an increase to the quarterly dividend of 11 cents per share. I mean, that's ridiculous.
And if you look at their earnings for the last year, it's pretty good compared to the share price. But they have traded sideways for a bit, and now you got a pretty big drop.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, guess who's involved?
Who?
Carl Icahn.
Well, I can see why if Icon's involved. I mean, when did he get involved?
2017 it says, and estimated average price 18, almost $19. He owns 13%, and it's his 9th biggest position.
And he got in 17.
But he only have 14 though.
Well, that means he's about breaking even at the current price. Although, I mean, if he's getting him to pay out that money, I mean, that's smart.
There are some things that looks good in this company, but I'm not sure if it's, after the pandemic it went up to almost 30. And on the fundamentals it looks actually better now.
Yeah, but a lot of people are saying decreased multiples versus other public companies is entirely due to the low quality of the acreage. It's tier 3 all the way, which means it's like the lower quality oil or natural gas. Provided how much water they have to make over 9,000 BBLs of oil a day from 100 or 1,400 wells, you would know it's junk acreage. Why are the only public companies in these areas? It seems it's junk acreage. Every oilman in Oklahoma knows it's junk. And some people are saying that dividend's just a trap, and that But I mean, the one thing is at least management's running the company decently and paying back towards shareholders. They haven't really diluted shareholders since 2017.
Yeah.
I want to pull up their recent 10Q and just look at their balance sheet on here. Some kind of thing got changed on here because even like my my browser, like the colors are off or something. So I don't know what happened on my computer here. Someone's messing with my stuff.
Okay. But you mean on the website for the SEC?
Yeah, like even the colors are off on there. Did they update it?
Yeah, it looks different than it did like a week ago.
Okay, maybe it's just that then. But Excel looked different for me, and so did this. So I was like, what the
Yeah.
heck's going on here?
But luckily they have kept everything as it used to be and not done anything like FINRA, you know.
Correct. Oh my gosh. Terrible website design.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, they don't really have much in terms of liabilities. I mean, that part looks good.
What does that proved and unproved mean on the balance sheet?
I think that has to do with the wells that are considered like up and running versus the ones that aren't.
Okay.
Like those wells have proven that they can generate those revenues versus the ones that have not.
Yeah. And that looks very stable since last year. It's not big moves. Well, I guess you would have to look into what type of company this is and the reputation and everything. But there are things on the fundamental side and the balance sheet there that looks all right, yeah, at least.
Yeah, I mean, the dividend is obviously a one-off thing. I doubt they'll have that much in the future.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, it's it's like a net, so it's got that going for itself.
Yeah.
Overall, the ratios aren't too bad. They got SG&A way down.
What do you get for valuation, like 25, 30 or?
I actually get mine says 1730-ish around there.
Okay.
Um
That was the 52-week high.
yeah, I definitely wouldn't go in there. And and if you wanted to include the dividend, you could argue it's probably worth like 1750 right now.
Yeah.
Depending on your time frame of holding, obviously, and if you want, I don't count one-off events in terms of cash for dividends because it's literally a one-off event. There's no way to predict how often they're going to do that and how much it will be.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just adding this to my database real quick.
There's nothing on the inside buy or anything like that. I just checked because I saw the insider owns only 2%, which I don't know. I would assume that the last insider bought in 2019 or something like that.
Yeah, so we'll have to see where it goes from here. But I mean, I still I definitely will follow this company right now because I mean that just that dividend return to shareholders alone is great.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, besides this is the other thing too is when you start to get into the macro idea here, where you're going to start to try and predict what oil's going to do. Yeah, it's just tough. It's very tough.
Yeah. No,
I think. What do you say?
No, I have them in the tracker already, so I'm not gonna make any notes or anything because they are already there. But I just paid attention to them because the 10% drop and that they are now breaking below the 52-week low.
Yeah.
But I didn't
I'll
remember that
check.
Carl Icahn was there.
You want to move on to the next one?
Yeah. WYY. That's a small one.
Wide point. I haven't looked at these guys either, so.
They show up as leverage in my calculator, but it doesn't issue shares and they have cash on the books.
Hang on, mine didn't pull up the information right away. Okay, there we go.
Yeah. Technology company.
Yeah, they do have low debt.
Yeah. And a little bit of cash, and you see the share count is a bit, you know, it's slowly rising, but still pretty low. And they have small cash generation, but I would like to see more.
Yeah, but historically, it's not that bad.
No. But what do you think about the market cap when you... The fundamentals are okay, I guess, but with that tiny market cap, does that bother you in a technology company as well?
Yes and no. It's definitely something I take into consideration that it's really small. You know, and historically they haven't really generated too much in any kind of earnings.
No.
In the past 2 years have been kind of ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, they did have some cash flow in this most recent year, which is good, but I don't know. We'll have to see really what that quite does.
But even with the past 2 years being a bit rough, they are trading pretty high, actually. They are trading 17% to the 52-week high.
True.
And it seems like they have recently got a new contract, January 16. Oh, guess who's in the comment section?
Who's that?
Timothy.
That guy's everywhere.
Yeah.
No, I mean you can tell he looks at a lot of the same companies that you and I do.
Yeah.
Because he always seems to be in there somewhere.
He seems like he's poking a little bit into management, that they are... now will you actually be able to do something with it and generate a real profit in 2024? I'm not holding my breath, he says.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's the thing is historically they got to be able to get something back to people.
Yeah. I just saw... I quickly looked at them before we went on, and I saw the cash generation, and they had cash on the books, and I didn't know about the contract and Timothy and all that, but it looked interesting enough to just pull them up, in my opinion, and check them. Very low capex as well.
Yeah, without delving a little bit more into this, I'd have to learn more about this company to really think. You know, I get it that they're based on contracts and stuff like that, and that they're that they're IT services and just kind of communication type services in general. But it's tough to I don't know the ins and outs of these different businesses well enough to I'd have to either listen to someone more intelligent than me talk about it, or dig more into the 10K, which where is this trading now at 298? That's pricey for where I have it at, so it's not something I'm gonna delve into at this level.
No, I agree. They were a bit high.
What do you have for your valuation?
Nah, but I don't trust mine on that. But it's not too much higher than what it currently is. And if I just look at the numbers, I think like it's actually where it should be. Maybe if I would definitely need it a bit lower to get interested. But when you then consider the market cap is already tiny, I'm not sure if I ever would.
Yeah, I mean, it would be a long shot for sure.
Yeah.
Because my number is actually close to the 52-week low that mine's telling me.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, I'm adding it to my list, but it needs more.
Yeah. Hey Dana, I got like a message again on that the stream is a bit poor quality right now. So can you see that it's poor or?
I mean, it maybe looks like it's not like at full speed frame wise, but other than that, I feel like you can see what we're doing.
All right. I think my internet connection is a bit bad at the moment because it happened on Thursday too. But I monitored it so far and it has looked good until now. So I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I mean, there's one other person in the stream. If you guys are watching, if you could comment on how the quality is, if it's really terrible, we're sorry. Are you closing out of stuff? You don't got any other programs or anything open?
No, I just have the necessary things.
All right.
But it fixed itself on Thursday, so let's just check it. But let us know if it's poor quality and we will try to figure it out. All right, you want to move to the next one?
Yeah, I'm just peeking at a few other things here on this one. But yeah, I mean, this isn't really catching my eye just yet. It's just gonna need more.
Yeah. Maybe more time to prove itself, and like Stavros said with that contract now, if management does something, it will pop up again in the daily, I guess. But then it might be too late, but that's how it is. Like right now, I think it's too high up in price, and I'm not gonna add it to the tracker.
All right, now what do you got next? TUSK?
TUSK, yeah. I think that's an energy one.
That's a sick ticker for Mammoth Energy.
Yeah. Oil and gas, yeah. Also trades at a 52-week low.
Man, the energy sector right now is getting killed.
Yeah. If you look here in the... I can X out of the tracker. I saw in the daily or also in the weekly, there's a lot of energy companies in the roughest positions, oil and gas.
Yeah.
If you look at this, I get for operating cash flow, like the last years has been negative, but positive this year. I mean 2023. And same with free cash flow.
Yeah, it's been a while though since that actually translated in any kind of earnings though.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of their money gets eaten up in CapEx.
Yeah, it does. Does your issue shares here?
Yeah, it does.
How much?
Mine would say to issue up to 64.
Oh, really? Because mine we must have some different data then, because mine issues nothing.
Yeah, only for cash on a cash flow basis, not on a asset basis. But
Yeah. All right.
I have looked at them before. I honestly, it's been probably a while, but I have looked at
Yeah.
these guys before.
Yeah, I remember the ticker as well, but they are not in my tracker sheet. So I just saw on the multiples and all that, the ratios and stuff. They looked a bit good.
Yeah, actually, it almost been a year. I looked at these guys about a year ago.
All right. They have 132 million in total current liabilities.
Yeah, what does it say when their long-term debt is due?
Yeah, I'm checking now. The long term is 69 million. So a bit. $20.28, I think.
Gotcha. So it's not pressing at the moment.
No.
And how much are they spending on capex right now?
Was it 9? I am 19 million.
Gotcha. That's not too terrible. And they paid a dividend in 2019, but just one time. So this is a one-off thing.
Yeah. Did you have negative earnings for 2023?
No.
No,
Actually,
because I also have a positive 16 cents.
But
Historically, it has been a bit
yeah,
rough.
historically overall, it's still negative. So
Yeah.
But I mean, so is the cyclical business. And in 2018, the data is like insane. I don't know if they sold or bought something during those years or what they did, but it doesn't look like we're going to ever return to those numbers.
Oh, you remember that guy Kanan that we talked about in another stream?
Who is that?
That was exactly your response last time too.
Oh yeah. I do.
Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's here, and Wexford Capital is almost a 50% owner. I don't know. Have you heard about them?
I'd have to look at him.
It's a hedge fund.
If you go to the comments on this one, Stavos is there.
Nah, is he?
Yeah, of course he is. I told you that guy's everywhere.
Nice. And also commenting about the management again. It's Wexford Capital is also on the board, it seems like.
Are these guys more natural gas than they are oil, or are they both? I know they usually go hand in hand, but
I'm not sure. Go into their website.
yeah, it looks more like they're like infracting and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
Stables does bring up a good point. Normally, I don't look at sales too much, but he has been selling
Yeah, I saw that.
pretty recently.
Yeah. But it says I guess because of the wax for the hedge fund, because it says 25% inside ownership in my data here, but if they own 47%, that's probably majority of them, because they were listed as a director.
Gotcha.
It said on the presentation, investor presentation, 26 million on infrastructure, 20 million on well completions, 10 million on sand, and the other ones are a bit small. I don't know what they mean with infrastructure. Is that the...
They're just saying in all their buildings and setting up everything.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just scrolling through their most recent report. It's I don't see anything in there that's really catching my eye. Is all I'm trying to say.
Yeah. What do you think about the book value though?
I mean, book value is good looking right now, but it is decreasing on mine.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of stagnated, I guess, a little bit the past few years, but they're going to need more in earnings to really do much there.
Yeah. And if you go back a couple of years and more, the rest of the fundamentals, it doesn't look too good. But of course, they have turned it a bit around last year, but that guy is selling, which is a good point, I think, as well. Which is a bit weird if they think that they have turned it around, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It does seem like it's trading somewhat cheap.
Yeah, I mean, it's breaking below 52-week low now.
I'm like surprised where it's trading right now. I get it. Oil, like, on top of everything, oil's not been too great, but this seems pretty bearish. Looks like around $3. There's some support and resistance on looking at the chart quick.
Yeah.
I'm zoomed pretty far out on this chart, but Yeah, I just think all these commodities right now. That's what I'm saying. Like, I almost want to wait until there's some kind of more bullish news from some of these cyclical commodity energy companies, because once I see something like that, then I would be more interested in maybe purchasing some of these and just kind of letting oil do its thing. But until I see something that's going to kind of make me think that's the case going forward for a while, I don't know. They all seem kind of the same thing. Like, there's just the risk that, like, depending on how oil performs, that's what's in control of the stock, and there's not much to predict there. At least for me.
Yeah. And right now, where the chart is at, it's a bit hard to. Even if on many things it could look a bit cheap, it's a bit hard to move in here.
Yeah, right here, I agree.
All right, you want to do the last one?
Yeah, we can get the last one done here. What's your last ticker?
Boom. Also energy, I think. No, industrial goods.
I mean, we can get something different. Yeah, distributes engineers product utilized by the global oil and gas industry.
Yeah, it says
one,
so
one,
on
one
mine
of its
too.
things still has to do with oil, of course.
Yeah, I was reading in the thing and it says energy, so. I
Yeah,
pulled
I
mine
haven't looked
from
at
MarketWatch.
What about MarketWatch?
No, I pulled the data, like the sector in the industry from MarketWatch.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
Looks like they discontinued their dividend. The book value is looking good.
Yeah,
I get very slightly levered.
slightly lower, yeah.
Pretty good cash flow. Do you see the same?
Yeah. But and an improvement from last year and the year before. But do you see the big acquisition 2022?
Yeah, I do. Which they took on quite a bit of debt for that acquisition, so I'm curious to see
Yeah.
what that'll do to the. I mean, revenues have jumped up.
Yeah. And I mean from maybe 2018, it looks a bit good on the growth and everything.
Yeah, the only thing so far that I see on this that I don't like is it looks kind of fairly valued to me right around here. But
Yeah.
but otherwise, this is a pretty good company.
Yeah.
Just
I saw
from
there
a
was
quick
some
look.
insiders. There's some small insider buys, nothing to pay attention to, I think.
Yeah, I saw James O'Leary had just purchased once recently, but 5,000 shares is
Yeah.
meh.
Yeah. And who owns this? Yeah, I didn't find anything too interesting on Whale Wisdom. But that acquisition looks to be a good one so far.
Yeah, I'm trying to see if it says anything on that because so far I haven't been able to find anything on what it was.
How much is that? That's a bit high for that market cap, I think.
Oh, it was a lot of money. 288 I have for a market cap. It's almost their entire market cap they purchased. So
Yeah.
they obviously must have been pretty impressed with it, which is also why you can see that their tangible book value now is so off from their actual book value.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of goodwill to have to get rid of there.
Yeah. The margin seems to be a bit down.
Yeah, I'll probably have to watch if that stabilizes with the acquisition.
Yeah, because I see on the single years it's a bit up now on the single years, but on the average it's a bit down.
Right. Yeah, but it's only a bit. Like I don't know. Otherwise, I think it looks pretty good to be honest.
Yeah. Here's some article about the acquisition. Arcadia acquisition. Have you heard about Arcadia?
Yeah, I've definitely heard of Arcadia.
It seems like they have tried to transform the business a bit with that acquisition, and since then, that's probably what we see in the numbers. That
Yeah, there's the three. I mean, they have three pretty different sectors or segments that they're involved in.
yeah,
Because it's really not only it's like construction type things, and then there's energy. There's also industrial processing of it, and then there's also transportation sectors.
yeah.
So they're kind of all over the place here. Do you see there's a recent news article that says that DMC Global to consider sale of Dyna Energetics and NobleCloud units?
Yeah.
Shares are halted based on that news.
And when was that? January 29?
Yeah. So this would materially change the business like quite a bit.
Yeah.
So this might they might only be just the Acadia part of this business after they get rid of those. So the whole energy type section thing would disappear. So that definitely something to look at there. Because all these numbers that we're looking at right now, they won't mean shit if they sell off those two. I mean, we can see what they'll get for the actual cost of these things. But we'll have to see.
Yeah, that changes it a bit, right?
Yeah, it definitely does. Makes it very different from just what I was thinking there. It's actually my first note I'm going to put is that, possible spin-offs. I'm going to put it on deck though, because I'm interested just in that story.
Yeah.
All right, and we'll go with. What did you get for your fair value on this?
Mine says like 22. But again, I don't. I have been trying to adjust it because I know it's not correct.
Well, it's honestly kind of subjective. It's not like it's.
But if
even
I look
mine,
at
I only take mine so seriously. If anything, I just take it as a very conservative valuation. Hopefully, it should be conservative. That's kind of the point of it.
yeah, I mean, if you look at the numbers, it's a bit hard. But like around where it is and a little bit higher maybe. But if they sell us off, it's a bit hard.
Yeah, I'm wondering what they think they could get for those two businesses.
Yeah. There's a guy on stock tweets that are happy with the management here.
Yeah, actually, I never looked at the chart. I just want to pull up a chart and see how this is traded. It's kind of traded pretty steadily, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too is, you know, that would take the cyclicality out of the business in terms of, because like oil right now, you can tell it's probably driving this price back down a little bit, but it always seems to get down to almost these prices before it bounces right back up. I mean, since July of 2022, it's done this 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 times, basically bounce from these levels.
Yeah. And they
There's
are all
actually a lot
below
of
the
volume in
pandemic
this recent
level.
down move.
But I mean, if you look at the chart, it also doesn't go up to 30, you know. So the bounce up isn't too big.
No, I'm looking at those smaller bounces, and if you look at like a 1-year chart, it gives you like a decent idea of kind of more recently how it's trading.
Yeah. There's not a lot of people commenting and following, it seems like.
Yeah, some people are saying that, you know, the buy price could be, or the high price of this stock could be valued at $30 and kind of
Yeah.
the low at 15. So kind of where it's been trading is what they're saying.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
Yeah, a little expensive for me, but
Yeah.
interesting. Like I obviously want to, like, you know, I can't even like judge it right now, knowing that they could possibly spin off 2 huge parts of the business. I mean, that's
Yeah, that's the thing.
60%, or I mean, you know, rounding, but. Do you have anything else you want to look at on it?
No, those were the tickers that I had, but there's been some development in GTE.
Yeah, that's right. You can pull up GT if you want.
I think I'm just gonna check Seeking Alpha.
So I remember you saying that they were offering senior notes, correct?
Yeah, yesterday there was a news that they are GTE prices 100 million senior notes.
Which is strange.
And the market did not like it. And this week has been, you know, past week GTE went up a fair bit, but it's coming down again.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really strange timing.
You know, past.
They're generating decent cash flow and whatnot from where they're currently at, and they already have a decent amount of debt. So to take on more debt, well, like, what are they going to do with that cash?
Yeah. And when you also know that they are buying back shares as much as they can.
Because that puts their debt at almost 600 million. I mean, it's due in 2029, so it's a ways out, but just kind of strange. So it says net proceeds will be used to repay the outstanding amounts borrowed under its existing credit facility and any remaining net proceeds from the offering for general corporate purposes, which may include additional capital to appraise and develop. So, I mean, maybe they think they can use that capital right now, but I would say the way the company's running now, like, keep paying the debt down with your normal cash flow. Maybe they needed it. I don't know. Did they need it? I didn't even see when stuff was due before that.
I haven't seen anything about that they need it, so it caught me by a bit of a surprise.
What's their current debt structure? Because it looks like, unless something I'm missing, is it just the credit facility? Is that all they're trying to pay off? Is just that? I mean, and plus, like, a 9% interest rate is pretty high too. Like, it's not a great time to take on that amount of
No.
interest.
No.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to see what they do with that money, but that I don't know how I feel about that move.
Yeah, I didn't like it when I saw it, and I'm because I own GT. If you have watched previous streams, I have gone through GT, and we have done it together too.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that I still like, but this one I was a bit surprised by it, and I need to pay close attention in the coming period, I think.
Yeah, I really don't understand this move. If you're buying back stock, why are you taking on debt at a higher
Yeah.
interest rate?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, and maybe I missed it, but I haven't seen that there's something that they need money for now. And like you read earlier, it's a bit vague what they plan to spend it on.
Yeah, they're not really paying back like shareholders, like, you know what I mean? Like, they're not. I mean, book value is slowly creeping back up now, but they're not giving dividends or anything to shareholders. So besides the share buybacks, you know, it just kind of depends on how much they think they're going to get back here. Like,
Dane,
took
do
an
you
extra
have the
100
fundamentals up?
at 9.5%. So that's 10% of almost, like, let's say 550. So 550, so that's 55 million in interest that you're paying now.
Yeah.
Seems high.
Yeah, that's high. Do you have the fundamentals there?
Yeah, I got them pulled up.
You want to share your screen so I just quickly switch over to yours, because I don't have them, and it takes a little bit to pull them up.
Yeah, hang on. Sharing now.
Oh. There, I think we are. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I got this, that's the short term there. And now if this debt gets bumped up to you're going to tack another 100 million on, that's going to add 10 million to that value. Like, for instance, like net common or net common income is 19, so that would only be 9, this year. Like, I don't know, it just seems to put added stress on things, especially if oil starts to take a downturn. This could be terrible timing, on top of the fact that now you're guaranteed a 9.5% interest rate that you have to pay until 2029.
Yeah. I remember a comment that have been stuck in my head here, that there was someone saying that management tell you what you want to hear, and then they do something a bit stupid, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, you could say that for a lot of things. I just wonder how this. I mean, I get it that they must think it's worth it for the equity side to have their ratio more like have a higher debt to equity ratio. Um, but I'm still kind of confused on the timing of these senior notes. I mean, I know they had restructured the other ones to 2029 at the 9.5%. So maybe they're thinking just tack it on here anyways. And I don't know, maybe they're, I mean, I know they're exploratory, so maybe they have an idea of something that they want to get, but I don't know. It's a little strange to me.
Yeah. Another one to follow closely in the coming period. Because I assume that this can. Sorry?
My screen is backwards on the stream.
Oh no. Is it?
Sorry, guys.
You know,
I mean, either way, like not that right now looking at these numbers, we've gone through them before, so it's not really going to change much. But from what I see, I mean, that's how I'm looking at these numbers. So
yeah. And I'd like
to hear from management on this one and see what their plan is.
Yeah.
Going forward now.
And it was recently. I think it barely dropped below 5. And it seems like it can go there again.
Yeah, right. But yeah, sorry guys, if you were trying to look at this, it's these here. So this is that short-term debt now that's going to start. This will go up by at least 10 million. And I got to see actually when they restructured that, because this current, I don't know. Actually, we're real quick. Let me just see what the SEC says about So that's just the credit facility there. Have you looked at what their actual bonds are trading at?
No, not recently.
I just want to take a peek real quick here. This is the 2029 ones. That's what I want. Right? Yeah. They're trading just shy of 90. So I mean, not bad. I mean, they're honestly, if you're thinking about investing in GTE, the debt might be worth taking on. Because I mean, that's a pretty good coupon rate at that price. So the actual trade yield's at 12%.
Yeah.
I mean, not really my style of investing, but for someone who's just looking for more of a steady paycheck.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that. I didn't like that news, but of course it can turn to something positive. Also, there's a possibility for that, but initially the market didn't like it, and it brings on some uncertainty.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we'll have to see going forward where I think that puts them. Because historically, I thought where they traded was always kind of cheap, and I know it's partly the risk from Colombia. But I know we've said this stuff, so if you guys have tuned into this, you know this. But now with oil on kind of a pullback. I mean, granted, you never know with oil. A month from now it could be up to 100. It's just it's like one of those things that like I don't even sit there and try and predict because it's crazy. But we'll have to see. I mean, maybe management has a good idea for the debt. I don't know. Maybe there's
Yeah.
maybe they're going to utilize it well. We'll have to see.
Yeah. I guess they will come out and comment maybe on the next report, or they have to. But it would be nice with some more clarity than the wording in that press release or news story.
Right. All right. Well, yeah, I think that's all I have to add on this one right now.
Yeah. ALTO keeps dropping. I don't think we need to go through because there's no development there, just still no news. But it's around 180 now, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anything's changed here. If anything, like I said, I think crush margins look pretty good right now. I think this might pop off earnings. We just got to see what the next report says.
Yeah, and if you saw in the comments, Kingdom was also pretty positive on the Q4.
Yeah, from what I could tell. I mean, it looks like it's just touching support right now. I mean, I guess you could argue it's kind of broken support or somewhere in here it's support, but I mean, it's considered oversold. I just think on like a charting thing, you might see another swing here back up.
Yeah.
Especially if earnings are good. If earnings are good, this could be an easy like double almost.
Yeah, you will see a big change if that's good, because that's what everyone wants right now after the last one. They want some results and just people delivering.
Right. Well, there's a lot going on that's positive looking out into the future for the company, but in terms of some kind of near-term catalyst that's actually going to really provide something to shareholders and encourage people more to get back into the stock. I mean, you could see though, I mean, mentality for the stock. I mean, people are pricing in when margins are good, based on that chart. It's before, over here, in the $4 range, $4 to $5 actually.
Yeah.
So disappointing. One of the most disappointing earnings things I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I still have nightmares.
yeah, it's one of those things, but interesting nonetheless.
Yeah, and like we keep saying, like this is what creates opportunity, and if you, I've followed it for years now, and I'm still, and not that I've been, the thesis is still has still not changed a lot since I went into it. It was initially about the carbon sequestration thing, which is I hope we get some good news on that in this next report. So this is kind of what I've been, like, this period we are going into now is what I've been waiting for a bit.
Right.
And in terms of that, things has not changed too much, but they have struggled for different reasons in those years, and especially the last 2 years. And at this stage, I'm not sure. Let's say, like, if they had delivered on the Q3, this would have been taking off already now, but there's no point talking about that because it didn't happen.
Right. Yeah, we can't look back there.
Yeah.
But
it was set up in that period. It was set up for a pretty good spike up.
Right.
And my point is, we can get back there. That was my point.
Yeah, I still can't believe the volume though for BNED. Let's do the
Yeah.
old intraday chart. I mean, look at that intraday chart. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the good news is no matter what, how do I get this stupid thing out of here? Shouldn't the last rows be green in the spreadsheet when you do an investment?
Oh, there's some comments.
Yeah, I don't know what you mean, Max, by the last row. Which row are you saying? You saying like if I'm looking at like a company, shouldn't it be green in the most recent row? Because I mean, arguably yes, obviously that's what you want, but typically for where we're getting in, things are kind of looking ugly. So usually the last year or two might look kind of ugly because our whole point is that we're looking at things most people aren't.
Yeah, so you're gonna see a lot of the times in the last year that we want to get in before it gets green, you know. So
Yeah, because I mean, in here, I mean, yeah, there's a bunch of red in this column, and that's the goal. I mean, that's what your job is, that you're to look through this and figure out what's going on and can this turn around? Because I mean, yeah, you know what, I like to be in this section of the company. Yes, this looks great, but we're over here, so we're trying to figure out what's going on and what the future will kind of hold. Hopefully this is kind of what killed us, is this earnings here.
yeah,
It's not what anybody was expecting, and you can see how much the capex kind of killed everything here. You know, otherwise, it's not like their cash flow from operations was bad. It just needs to be better. But that's kind of the thing going forward, is there's a lot of one-off events with ALTO. So, you know, I still hold a few shares of ALTO just to keep it in the portfolio. But you know, I'm still always. This is one of the companies I really check the news on quite a bit, because this is another one of those companies that when things turn, it can turn really quick.
yeah. And there are things also in the near term that has that potential, in my opinion, at least, and I know other people agree. So yeah,
for sure.
often Max, you will see the last year's being red, because that's where that's what has caused the opportunity.
Yeah, usually you're contrary to everybody else. That's kind of the goal, is that, you know, everybody else thinks that the issues are too much and they don't want to take the risk on. But if you don't want to take the risk on, then you don't want to take the reward on.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything else you want to look at, Johnny?
No, we have gone through the tickers that I had prepared before, but I think BNED is, of course, the BNED and ALTO probably is the two main ones for us now, that we can see like something happening in near term, you know.
Yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I still got to go through kind of my movers and stuff from Friday. So I don't know. Maybe if I see something different than what you saw, I'll let you know. But I haven't had even a chance to do it yet, just because, just like I said, it was a tough the end of the week for me.
Yeah.
So, but we'll see going forward, and then hopefully by Tuesday I'm all caught back up. So on the next stream, I can kind of let everybody know where I'm at. Hopefully, we can kind of get some of the transcript, or we can hear a little bit about the session from BNED for next week, because it's gonna, like I said, it's February 5th through 8th. This is the second or third session, I should say. So yeah, we'll see what's going on, and we'll see what the stock price does. You know, I think it might go back to kind of quiet for a little while, because I don't know. I don't know if there's enough news there to change anything. Is that kind of the impression you're getting right now?
I think it can also on Monday, like one of the most near days, I think you can see a little bit of a drop again, and then it will stabilize a bit where it was probably.
Yeah, I think it'll keep trading kind of similar to where it was. It might go down a little bit more.
Yeah,
Obviously, after hours was a little bit. I think it went back down like 4 or 5%, but after
yeah,
hours, I don't really put much weight on just because it
yeah,
doesn't. It only takes a few shares to really move the actual share count.
yeah.
Um, but we'll see. We'll see what news it does going into the future with BNED. I'm excited about it still.
Yeah,
I still think
same.
there's a lot of potential there,
Same
but
here.
we'll have to find out. There's Seeking Alpha is obviously great. I'll be checking Seeking Alpha. You can trust me on that and see if I'm really curious to see what management says about the whole situation and how they're handling it, because that's obviously going to be a huge factor in how the stock performs.
Yeah. Dane, so Max is asking us, do one of you guys use Y sheets and one use share radar for the stock data? And yes, that's correct. I'm
Correct.
the one who uses Y sheets, and Dane is using share radar, and we have just gone a little bit different approach to them before we knew each other. So it's just different ways to build the sheets on. And I think
Yeah,
both are pretty happy with the providers we have.
yeah. I think at this point, after building this out once, like it wouldn't really matter which platform I did it on. Like I would know kind of what I want and what I'm looking for. But I mean, I definitely like Excel at this point just because I know Excel really well. So for me, I'll stick with share radar data. But it is pricey. I guess I should be thankful that I can afford to get share radar data. But overall, I think it's a pretty quality product. I'm happy with it.
Yeah,
Um,
I
there's only a
can
few
say
things I wish that they could change and or update, but
a little bit about what I because I have seen I've seen your sheet a bit, Dane, when we have talked in the past, and um, I using Y sheets I have had to do a lot of calculation. I know you have done that too, Dane, but I think ShareRider are providing you with a little bit of a more options, more calculations that are already done than a Y sheet. So I've had to mess around to find different calculations and do it in the right way. And for me, that has been a bit tricky because I didn't have any knowledge in finance or anything like that before. So it's been a very steep learning curve.
right.
But our numbers are now fairly similar. So I think it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, like we had talked about, it's important to get, within the ballpark with the figures. I mean, obviously as accurate as you can get them, but it's not the end of the world.
No. And the sheets are, if you look at it, very simple. It's to catch the trends and then dive into more information that like near-term catalyst and stuff like that. So, and that's where the color coding comes very handy, in my opinion. It
Sure.
catches your eyes very easily. But yeah, we use different data providers.
Yeah.
And Dane, I just remembered this coming week. I'm busy on Thursday. Remember I told you? So I think maybe if we switch the days.
Oh yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I can do Thursday as opposed to Tuesday. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, because honestly, that'll probably help me get caught up, like I was saying.
Yeah. Perfect. So I will be on Tuesday then, and then we do one together again in a week.
Yeah. Hopefully by Thursday, we'll know what happened in that session at BNED.
Yeah. What is the date that we talked about? Like 5 to 8, right? So 8 is a Thursday.
Yeah. So like I said, I don't know how quick this stuff comes out. It might take a while for them to actually like finalize all of it. But
Yeah.
either way, it'll be interested just to kind of see where the Department of Education seems headed. As soon as we're done here and I get kind of a chance today, I'm definitely going to go through and look at this transcript of what was actually spoken about during the actual hearing itself, or the
Yeah.
session, I guess is what you call it. But we'll see. Thank you again for BLCM for sending that to me. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You've obviously been a huge help in helping all of us try and figure out what's going on here. So,
And for anyone interested, the links are in the comment section on their Courage and Convictions most recent article. So if you want to check it yourself, they are all there, so you can pull them up there.
Yep, we got some of these here, and then I'm not a bot, in case anybody's wondering. Not a bot, real person. But yeah, and if you go into the see more replies here under this, you can see kind of what we're talking about all in here.
Yeah. So Max had another question, Dane. He's asking, how do you pull insider data into the sheets? Manually from Open Insider, are they included?
Yeah, no, mine's manually pulled in. So this is my I can actually show you on my actual spreadsheet. So I have my dashboard here, and then I use a lot of like power pivot tables or whatever they are. Where's these? Here we go. The one that's labeled insiders. It's under the insiders tab. And I pull in, a few different ways I pull the data, and I pull in anything under a week, anything over 2 weeks. I pull in a 1 month, a 3 month, a 6 month, and a 1 year. And every time I refresh my sheet, you'll see it pull in all these giant tables here. And that way it updates every time, and then this information just automatically gets kind of sifted through. And then when I go to like my insider tab and I update this, it just pulls in the tickers from those lists. So mine's stuff that's any insider that's bought within the last week, that'll pull up on my actual insider tab here, and then it obviously just populates all this other information from there. So that's one nice thing about Excel is the power pivot tables here. Makes a big difference, so you can pull up all your insider information.
Yeah, I have set it up in the same way. I pull it manually, and it just automatically updates when there's something new there. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time before it updates, but yeah, it's like it's just import functions manually. So that doesn't come with the data providers or anything. You need to do it on your own.
Yeah, and that's similar to how I do all my stuff, like my insiders, my movers, my one tab that says HTML. That's just random websites that I pulled in information. A lot of it's for my dashboard here to pull in like commodity prices and all that kind of stuff. And then like my other ones that say like the tickers and stuff like that, I pull that information in from Share Radar. And then I break that all down, and I load everything by their ratios, and then that all gets pulled out and pulled into my spreadsheet whenever a ticker appears. So it's a lot of work to get set up, but once you get the basic idea of how you do it, it's not too hard. So like in my like dailies here, you'll see that my index type equations. This is kind of all over the place to pull in this stuff. And I just use kind of a simple match function. And then when I click my update button here, it just updates the tickers from somewhere, usually daily movers or like, weekly movers, all that kind of stuff. It's just looking at that list. It updates the tickers. And then because it's a ticker and it's indexed on everything else, it just pulls in all that information. So it's a pretty automated process now, which was the goal initially, was to make this all as automated as possible. Like I said, I have some experience in coding for VBA here, but not really as like a real coder. So like I never tried to do this in what's the one that everyone uses for data? Is it Ruby?
Sorry?
What, do you remember I don't know if I don't know if the names for the programming languages are the same in your country either, but there's different programming languages, but one of them is great for data. I can't remember which one it is. It's what everybody seems to use. But I didn't feel like the need to go through and learn to code was going to outweigh how quickly I could do this in Excel. And so far, Excel does the job. So it was one way I kind of knew to do it without having to learn and teach myself a million other things. And the troubleshooting and everything. Don't get me wrong. If I had built a real program that did all this, it would probably be even easier and smoother. But for now, I mean, this is great. It does everything I need.
Yeah. Hey, Dane, I have some news.
What's up?
We have reached 69 subscribers.
No way.
We didn't get alert, but I checked on my phone.
I was going to say on my My screen, it still doesn't say 69, it says 68, so
Yeah, I know, but I think if you update it, it would be 69.
let me just do a quick update here.
I think that's a good way to end the stream, right?
There you go. Yeah, it's, here, I'll stop sharing my screen.
Yeah. You want to play the video?
You got to play the video. We just did it.
I'm gonna play the video. Pay attention to this, guys. We have prepared for this for a long time. We are very proud, by the way. 69 subscribers was a goal, and we have reached it now.
Thank you to all our first 69 subscribers. It's a big.
Here's the celebration video. Okay.
Everybody hands go up. 69, 69. And they stay there. And they say yeah. And they say yeah. Cause all I do is win, win, win. And if you're going in, put your hands in the air. Make them play that.
Yeah. Nice. Congratulations, Dade.
Thank you, Max. Were you the one who just subscribed, Max?
Yeah. Who was it? We usually get the alerts, but we didn't see anything.
So whoever it was, we appreciate it.
Thank you.
Reached our next threshold. Obviously, will be 420.
Yeah, I agree. 420 is the next one, and then after that,
bullish. That'll be our next big move. All right, but yeah, I think I don't think I got anything else to add there. Max, thanks for tuning in. It's good talking to you as always.
Yeah.
And
yeah, Tuesday will be me then. A little bit of a different setup this coming week, but I'm happy if you tune in again, Max, and anyone else who has watched then, and we will try to find more interesting stuff for the coming week, and we will definitely keep an eye on BNED and the updates there.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of thing too, is kind of similar to when RK was doing GameStop and certain stocks start to take over the stream. It's just because there's a lot going on with it. And that's, obviously we're both involved in it. So, any kind of movement there matters to us. And just because of the way the stop losses are in, we're hoping the news stays positive. If not, we'll move on to the next one. We'll start looking at some other things. There's obviously ALTO, and there's a few other stocks that I have that I definitely want to start to dig in a little bit more on.
Yeah.
But just trying to balance the time out,
Yeah. I'm glad you liked the video, Max. He's laughing. So thank you.
Yeah, of course, Max. Thank you.
All right. See you on Tuesday then, I guess. So we are exciting to see what happens in this coming week. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try and tune in. Hopefully, I can tune in for a little bit. It's always tough when I first get home because it's a little crazy in my house here when I'm first getting home and trying to feed the animals and take care of my daughter and stuff. So it gets a little wild, but I usually got you on in the background.
Yeah. So it will be my time on Tuesday then, and Dane's time on Thursday. We do a bit of a different time because of where we live. So
yeah, a little flip flop, but it's all good.
Yeah. All good. Okay, thanks everyone for watching. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Max.
See ya.
See you guys. See you, Johnny.